Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you yielding for the purposes of this opening statement, and I would like to raise these points at the beginning of this hearing, that this topic of birthright citizenship is something that I have worked on for some time. I want to give some credit to now Governor of Georgia, Nathan Deal, who used to be the one that was leading on this topic, and when he went back to Georgia, somebody had to pick up the ball and go with it. It's myself in the House, primarily with a lot of colleagues working together, and also Senator Vitter on the other side is leading on a very similar bill that I'm speaking to, and not exactly that it is a component of the subject here that's before us. And the 14th Amendment of the Constitution says that all persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state where they reside. And that little troublesome clause in there, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, is the subject of our discussion here in this hearing today, and the policies that flow from it. And for those who argue that the physical birth of a baby on U.S. soil is an automatic grant of citizenship by policy, by Constitution, by statute, I believe they're uttering an ungrounded statement in that clause, that troublesome clause of subject to the jurisdiction thereof, defined it differently for clear reasons. And that is that if I look at the quotes from a number of U.S. senators who debated this topic back in 1865 and 66, the 14th Amendment was ratified finally in 1868. The lead senator on this, one of the authors, Senator Jacob Howard, said this: "This will not, of course, include persons born in the United States who are foreigners, who are aliens, who belong to the families of ambassadors or foreign ministers accredited to the government of the United States, but will include every other class of persons." And the purpose, of course, of the 14th Amendment was to guarantee that the babies born to the freed slaves would be citizens of the United States. The specificity in the clause was debated fairly thoroughly in the United States Congress, and it was there because there were Native Americans, called Indians under the statute then and the amendments then, who would lose their membership in the tribe if they were granted automatic citizenship. So the clause was carefully targeted to make sure that African American babies born in America were citizens, just as those newly freed slaves were. They became citizens under the 13th Amendment of the Constitution. It did not contemplate that anyone who could sneak into the United States and have a baby would be conferred automatic citizenship on that baby. That's a practice that has evolved, not a law that has been passed, not a provision within the Constitution anywhere, including in the 14th Amendment. So we'll get deeper into this definition of the subject to the jurisdiction thereof. This will be, if this bill is passed and becomes law, I don't think there's any doubt it'll be litigated. I look forward to that litigation. I think an objective court that would review the documents that build to this point has to conclude the same thing that I have. This is also something that flows from the Dred Scott decision that said that African Americans could never be citizens in the United States. That's the biggest reason that. Well, it's one of the two big reasons for the Civil War. It's still debatable as to which is the biggest reason, I might point out, but it's the reason for the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment to correct Dred Scott. And so it corrected it, and then we started this practice and to protect Native Americans. So the illegal parents, are they going to decide? Or are we going to decide as representatives of the people of the United States of America? And I suggest that it's our job here in this Congress to decide who will be citizens, not someone in a foreign country that can sneak into the United States and have a baby and then go home with a birth certificate. By the way, birth tourism has grown substantially. We had a hearing on this some years ago. The turnkey price for a Chinese pregnant woman to fly to the United States and check into a hotel, go through the maternity process, have a baby, get the birth certificate, take the baby back to China was $30,000. And that testimony several years ago, that price has gone up to $40,000 to $80,000. However, they still attest that they can't pay for the medical bills, and so we, the taxpayers, fund that. Also, the numbers of birth tourism were then said 340,000 to 750,000. That's by recollection from that testimony. And today I think we're going to hear maybe 300 to 400,000 babies born automatically in America. There's a lot of data to flow out here.